NBA players live like royalty. Private jets, half-billion-dollar contracts, millions of fans. But 75 years ago? Not even close. October 31st, 1950. A 22-year-old walks onto a court. He doesn't know he's making history. He doesn't even know he got drafted. That's Earl Lloyd, the NBA's first black player. But his story is way bigger than one man. But what did it cost him and the many others of his time? What did they go through? This is the real story of the segregated NBA.
Before 1950, you couldn't find a single black player on an NBA court. It wasn't a written rule. Team owners had an unwritten ban. They just wouldn't sign black guys. Simple as that. The whole country was segregated. Pro sports were no different. In 1947, Jackie Robinson broke baseball's color barrier. But basketball? Basketball waited longer. The NBA formed in 1949. April 25, 1950. Boston Celtics owner Walter Brown makes a move. He picks Chuck Cooper in the second round, 13th overall. Cooper was an All-American at Duquesne, 6'5", could run, jump, shoot. But Brown picked him for one reason. Brown told other owners he took Cooper because he was the best player available. He said it didn't matter if Cooper was black, white, or plaid. The other owners were furious, but it was done. Cooper became the first black player ever drafted in the NBA. A month later, the New York Knicks buy Nat Sweetwater Clifton's contract from the Harlem Globetrotters. Clifton becomes the first black player to sign an NBA deal. Then there's Earl Lloyd. The Washington Capitals take him in the 9th round. He had no idea. A friend told him, "I hear you're going to Washington." And Harold Hunter, he signed with Washington on April 26, 1950. But he got cut in training camp, never played a single game. So 4 black players entered the NBA in 1950, but only 3 ever suited up. The season tips off. Washington Capitals on the road against the Rochester Royals. Earl Lloyd walks onto the floor, 22 years old, 6'5". As the announcer reads Washington's starting 5, a white fan in the front row yells a racial slur. Earl heard it, but he kept playing. He scored 6 points that night. Just like that, the NBA's color barrier was broken. The next day, Chuck Cooper debuts for the Celtics. 4 days later, Nat Clifton debuts for the Knicks. 3 black players, 3 different teams, same season. But breaking the barrier was just the start. The real test came next.
Part 4. Off the court. The reality. Here's what these guys dealt with. They couldn't stay in the same hotels as their teammates, couldn't eat in the same restaurants, couldn't go to the same movies. Earl Lloyd later recalled, "I remember in Fort Wayne, they let me sleep in the hotel, but they wouldn't let me eat in the dining room." Wouldn't let you eat. You're a starter. You just played a game, but you can't join your team for dinner? Chuck Cooper dreaded road trips to the South. Every trip was a gamble. You never knew which hotel would let you in, which restaurant would serve you. Nat Clifton went through the same thing. And these guys made peanuts, way less than their white teammates. Plus, the league had a soft quota, 2 black players max per team. Coaches were told to match black players against black players, never guard the white stars. 2 or 3 black guys, that's all they'd allow. Part 5. Bill Russell and Boston. 1956. Bill Russell joins the Celtics. He's the greatest winner in history, 11 rings. But in Boston, the discrimination was even worse than you think. People broke into his home, spray-painted racial slurs on his walls, defecated in his bed. Russell later said he played for the Celtics, but he never played for Boston. He won 11 championships, and that city still treated him like that. His teammate Bob Cousy recalled that when Russell tried to buy a house in a white suburb, the neighbors fought it hard. Then they broke in and left human waste on his bed. This is the guy who owns half the NBA's titles. Part 6. Wilt Chamberlain and the Double Standard. 1962. Wilt scores 100 points in a single game, averages 50 for the season. But he went through the same garbage. Chamberlain said opponents fouled him hard, pushed, elbowed, tackled him. But if he retaliated, if he fought back, he said it would reflect on me and then indirectly on my race. He couldn't defend himself because if he swung, the whole black community would take the blame. He even worried whether his white teammates would pass him the ball for that 100-point game. He actually thought about it. That was the 1960s NBA.
Part 7. Elgin Baylor's Protest, First Ever Boycott. 1959. Elgin Baylor does something no one had done before. His Lakers are on the road in Charleston. The hotel refuses to let Baylor and 2 other black players check in. The restaurant refuses to serve them. So Baylor sits out. He refuses to play. That's the first time an NBA player ever sat out because of racial discrimination. He could have played, could have scored, could have padded his stats. He chose not to. Part 8. The Slow Change. Gradually, things shifted. More black players came in. Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain became the faces of the league. Then Kareem, then Dr. J, then Magic, then Jordan. Today, about 74% of NBA players are black, but that history shouldn't be forgotten. Earl Lloyd played 560 regular season games, averaged 8.4 points. He made the Hall of Fame in 2003. Chuck Cooper played 409 games, 6.7 points, 5.9 rebounds. He died in 1984, inducted into the Hall in 2019. Nat Clifton made an All-Star team in 1957, Hall of Fame in 2014. Bill Russell was inducted in 1975, but he refused the ceremony. He waited 45 years because he felt he shouldn't be the first black player enshrined. Chuck Cooper deserved that honor first. Cooper was the first black player ever drafted. Russell said Cooper should have gone in before him. That's the character of these men. Today, NBA players fly private, stay in 5-star hotels, sign contracts worth hundreds of millions of dollars. But they stand on giants. Earl Lloyd, Chuck Cooper, Nat Clifton, Harold Hunter, Bill Russell. Every black player who stepped on that court during segregation. They didn't just play. They took the abuse, they took the discrimination, they took not being able to eat or sleep with their teammates, and they didn't quit. That's the real story of the segregated NBA. If you like deep NBA history like this, hit that subscribe button. More stories are coming, and they get even wilder.